Maybe you've seen a bright star in the sky at the moment and wondered what that star actually is. Let me turn the camera around to show you. Just above those houses, about there. Now you may have noticed that it's been out for the past few weeks. It's an incredibly bright star. You may be thinking, why is it so bright? Well, in actual fact, it's not a star at all. It is, in actual fact, a planet. It's the planet Venus. So I want to take you on a little tour and introduce you to this magical world. And I think you'll be surprised to learn a few facts about it. So you've just been outside, you've looked up and the sun's recently set and you've seen that star, which you now know is a planet. And for some of you, that may be the first ever time that you've seen a planet. Of course, our solar system, as we know, is full of planets. It's full of planets of all different types, of diverse ranges. And we're referring to this little guy right here, the planet Venus. And what do we know about Venus? Well, we know a lot. And mostly we know this through observations made by astronomers here on Earth or by spacecraft that have been sent into space. We know that Venus is our second planet away from our Sun. We know that Mercury comes first and then we've got Venus. In actual fact, in distance, it's actually closest to us here on Earth. And we get to study it slightly better because of that proximal distance away from us. We know that Venus is a solid planet. We know that it's made of a solid material, but that it has an interesting atmosphere surrounding it. This atmosphere surrounding Venus is mostly made of poisonous gases that have been giving out from volcanoes that have been on Venus's surface for billions of years, coughing and spluttering out all of this gas, mostly a gas known as sulfur dioxide and a little bit of sulfuric acid. You may have heard of that in your science class. All these gases then shroud and cover the planet Venus and make it a really horrible, inhospitable place to live. In fact, temperatures on Venus can get up to around about 460 degrees Celsius. That's extremely hot. This is sometimes described as a hellish world, a place you wouldn't really want to go and visit. What we also know is that Venus is very similar in size to Earth. We sometimes refer to Venus as Earth's sister planet. Similar size in diameter, and we think possibly even formed around and perhaps a similar time in our solar system. We also know that when we look at Venus in the night sky, we can see that it's incredibly bright. And we often see Venus usually at two times of the year. One time of the year we refer to this as an evening planet or an evening star, because many people might not know it's a planet. Or sometimes we call it a morning star or a morning planet. And this depends on where Venus is as it goes around the Sun in its orbit. Is it either furthest out towards the east, and we call it its greatest eastern elongation, or furthest out towards the west, where we refer to it as the greatest western elongation. The position of Venus around the Sun relative to where our Earth is, that we also go around the Sun, means we get to see Venus lit up at different times of the year. And we can obviously tell from studying Venus that actually if we look at it with a telescope, we can see that Venus has phases, just like the Moon, depending on where it is in its orbit relative to us on Earth. So we can actually see the full face of Venus, or maybe a half phase of Venus, or a quarter of Venus. And Galileo, the astronomer himself, discovered this using a tiny refracting telescope, was able to make detailed drawings of different phases of Venus, which I think just blows my mind. It's amazing. Now, spacecraft have also visited the planet Venus as well, most notably in the 1970s, when a fleet of spacecraft known as the Venera spacecraft, built by the Soviet Union, were able to touch down on the surface, but some of them only surviving for a matter of minutes before the crushing depths of the temperature, pressures and heat of Venus destroyed them for good. Now when you hear the saying, men are from Mars and women are from Venus, what's that telling you? Check it out, go outside, see it in the night sky. Thanks for watching.